Okay. So today we are going to start programming classes. Today we are going to start programming classes. In other way, we are going to start the development.
Hi, your voice is not clear. Breaking in between.
Sorry.
Your voice is not clear. Breaking in between, actually.
Oh, is it? How about right now? Is it okay? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, it is okay.
Can you guys hear me right now? Is it better?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. So today we are going to start the programming classes, or in other word, development classes. Before I start the development, let's understand what we are going to cover. Okay, and how we are going to take this course further. And what's going to happen in this class. Okay, so when I say development is divided into the three parts. UI development, Lightning, which is also called as a Aura framework. Sorry, UI development and logic development, and then integration. Development is divided into the three parts: UI development, logic development, and integration. When I say UI development, in Salesforce, Visualforce framework comes into the UI, and Lightning Aura framework comes into the UI development. LWC or DOM Java framework comes into the UI. And when I say logic development, we will be covering everything. When I say everything, we will be covering the SOCL, SOCL, Apex, batch class, asynchronous, and synchronous. All of this we will be covering it in the logic development. Okay, so you might be having a question: what is the UI development? What is the logic development? Right, so when I say UI development, this is as per the Salesforce. For any program, we are writing any program inside the Salesforce, the first thing is that we will implement the UI. UI is nothing but a design framework. Like when you open the registration form, you will see first number, right? A first name, last name, email ID, all this related to your personal information you will be seeing on the form. And then you will be having a button over here to submit it. Right. So designing part, the front end UI, first we need to implement. That means we need to have a clarity on the page, what are the details that should be appearing to the client? Like if I go to the registration form, the first section will be personal information. Then I'll be having a address details. So all of this we will be designing it. So front end view is called as a UI development. This is a UI development. As soon as the user entered first name, last name, email, and whenever I click on a submit, what should happen? On clicking on the submit, what should happen? Which is called as a logic, the business logic. The business logic is sitting in different place. In Salesforce UI development, this framework can be implemented using the Visualforce framework, or we can implement it using the Lightning Aura, or we can implement into the LWC. LWC is nothing but a Lightning Web Component, which is nothing but a DOM Java framework. We will be implementing a UI either of this in Salesforce. And what should happen on clicking on this button is implemented here. The logic, the business functionality or business logic is written here. Like on clicking on the submit, I wanted to save this information into a Salesforce as a record. Maybe I can say I wanted to say contact record should be created as soon as I click on a save submit button. So this is a logic development that I'll be writing a business logic inside this contact record. Right, so integration will come to that part later. Integration is nothing but, this is a Salesforce. Let's assume that integration is nothing but this is a Salesforce. And I'll be having another third party, which is called as a .NET or SAP or Python or Hiraku or MuleSoft, any third-party system. Any third-party system, if I want my Salesforce to interact with, this is my Salesforce. Okay, so as soon as the user enter details in Salesforce, I want to send those information to either .NET or SAP or Python or Hiraku or MuleSoft. These are the different systems that I wanted to send the data from Salesforce to this third-party system, which is called as an integration. So what we will do is we will build a connection between the Salesforce and third-party system via integration. We have APIs. We will come to that later. So how many types are there? One is in Salesforce, UI development, logic, and then integration. In real time, whatever the work we do, whatever the project, it could be a healthcare project, it could be a finance project, it could be an automobile project, any project, whatever the project you work on it, these three pieces you will be touching it. UI development for sure, logic for sure, API. In case if your company has a third-party system which needs to be interacted with the Salesforce, then you will be implementing the integration API. So whatever the project, irrespective of the project, these are the three parts which we will be touching it. Okay. And out of this, which one we will be learning from today is as per the Salesforce certified, as per the Salesforce, confirm that we will be first learning the Visualforce. We will first learn the Visualforce framework. Then we'll go to the logic. When I say logic, which is nothing but a Apex or business side logic. right? As per the Salesforce certified, we will be first learning the Visualforce, then we will get the clarity of the UI. And on whatever the actions are there on the UI, based on that, what should happen? We will be learning going further logic. Then we will connect the Apex classes, how to do the batch classes, asynchronous, synchronous, everything we will be covering it going further. So because we will first implementing the design, we'll understand the design, right? We'll understand the design. So we'll have the picture in our mind. Creation of button, input fields, then on clicking of this button, what should happen is written in the logic, business logic. So this is the core syllabus which we will be learning it. But for first, we will start with the Visualforce framework. We will continue the business logic later. Now, let's start the Visualforce. Let's start the Visualforce. What is the Visualforce? Why do we use it? When do we use it? Right? So what is the Visualforce? Why do we use it? When do we use it? Visualforce is a framework. This is a framework that allows a developer, if anybody wants to note down it, note down, this is an interview question. Visualforce is a framework that allows a developer to build sophisticated or custom user interface. What is a Visualforce? Visualforce is a framework that allows developer to build a sophisticated customer user interface which can be hosted natively on the force.com platform. Right? So what is the Visualforce? Visualforce is a framework that will allow any developer, Salesforce developer, to build their own custom page, which can be hosted natively on force.com platform. So when I say framework, what is a framework? This framework, you will be hearing it a lot during this Visualforce classes. What is this framework? What does that mean, framework? It's a collection of technology or multiple technologies collected together. We call them as framework. So you hear Java framework, you hear Aura framework, right? For example, .NET framework. Whenever you wanted to run an application on .NET, then you require a .NET framework. Or whenever you wanted to run a Java, then you need Java framework. Which is also called as a JVM. Or if you wanted to implement anything on the .NET, you definitely need a .NET framework. Without a .NET framework, you cannot do anything. So what is the framework? Is nothing but a collection of technologies. When we are implementing the .NET code or Java code, we use Ajax. We use different technologies there, Ajax, CSS, HTML, all of this we will merge together. Some piece of code we will take it from HTML, some piece of code we will take it from CSS styling, some piece of code we will take it from .NET, some piece will be from Ajax. So everything by mixing all together is called as a framework. So finally we'll build a framework. So Visualforce is also a framework. It is also a technology from Salesforce, right? So there might be a question comes to your mind in market, current in market. There are so many technologies. There are so many technologies like Python, Ajax, .NET, ASP.NET, SAP, so many are there, right? So why Visualforce? Why Salesforce? What is the different that Salesforce holding it compared to all other? Why should I go to Salesforce? Why should I go to Visualforce? When I have so many things in the market, Python, Ajax, .NET, ASP.NET, SAP, everything is there. Why? Why only Visualforce? Now let's understand why it is. I'll come to this point later. Why Visualforce? There are a couple of points which I'm going to talk about where Visualforce is going to play those. So the points are, one is user friendly. User friendly development. When I say user friendly development, that means the place where I do the development, wherever I do the development, on the same location I can view output. On same location I can view output. But in another technology, HTML or Java, anything, we have to write a program, save that program, right click on that program, then execute it. And once you are done with the execute perfectly, then you will see the output. But here in the Visualforce, wherever I'm coding it on the same place, I can see the output. That is the first point. And the second one, this technology supports all other technologies. All other technologies. It supports HTML, it supports JavaScript, it supports Flash, Python, anything. Whatever whatever the technology right now in the market, the Visualforce is going to, or the Salesforce technology is going to support all other technologies. We can integrate it. Talend, I can use the Talend for the pushing the data. You might have heard Talend. I can use this ETL, I can use in the Salesforce for pushing the data, in which I have already worked on that, right? That is the second point. Coming to third one, the Visualforce supports model view controller. Visualforce supports model view controller, which is also called as a MVC, What is the model view controller style? What is the model view controller development style? This is the first time are you hearing it? Then let me explain it. Model view development style. Model means a logic that I'm going to implement it. View is nothing but a page, whatever the UI page that we are going to implement. So if I have to connect this model view controller is nothing but connecting my logic to the page through the controller. Connecting my logic to page, we need to implement a controller. Right? That's the reason the logics are separated. If you see the UI is separated, I'm not writing, we are not going to write any logic inside the UI. UI is only for designing purpose. I will not write any logic inside the UI. UI is separate piece and the logic is separate piece. I'm not going to implement any UI inside the logic. Right? As I mentioned before, once I click on a button on the UI, it goes to the logic. How it goes to the logic? I have to implement a controller. Connecting my logic to the page, we need a controller. And all of these are individuals. Right? All of these are individuals. Everything we cannot do it in one single go. First, I have to implement UI, then I have to implement logic. For that, I need to use a controller. So, okay, looks good. Okay, but I'm not satisfied here. Why we have to use the Visualforce? That's fine. User-friendly development. This technology supports all other technologies. Visualforce supports model view controller. But Swapna, I'm not convinced here because I do not see any other point which I have to pick it up Visualforce. Okay, I am also not convinced using these 3 points, but we have something which is a unique in the Visualforce, which is a outstanding. The point is concise syntax. What is that means? That means 90% fewer lines. 90% of your lines of code compared to other technology. Compared to other technology means what you achieve by writing the 100 lines of code in ASP.NET. Or in Java or any technology, whichever the technology you take it. Whatever we achieve by writing the 100 lines of code there, we can simply do in Visualforce. Same thing we can achieve it just writing the 10 lines of code or it is less than that. Right? I need not to write 100 lines of code. Just using the 10 lines or maybe it might be the less, but I'm just giving the around some number here, but definitely the lines of coding is very minimum. The lines of coding is very minimum compared to other technologies. 100 lines because I have worked on VB.NET. Okay, so I have worked on VB.NET. If I have to implement this page, whatever I talked about this page, if I have to implement this particular page, then I used to spend almost 3 to 4 days in VB.NET to come to this conclusion of this page. But in Salesforce, within a day or maximum 2 days, in 2 days, I'll be having the clarity on the UI. And what should happen, the logic might be taken another day. But compared to other lines of code, in other technology, the lines of code, whatever you are writing, which is very, very minimum here. What is the benefit if I have a minimum lines here? The main benefit to the developer need not to spend the time. Developer time is saved. Developer time is saved. And also which is a faster deliver. Development time is decreased. I can save a lot of time here, right? So these are the benefits. And the next point is data-driven. Data-driven default. Data-driven default. Visualforce is not only the designing focused. It's not only the UI part. It also data-driven. Intelligently it refreshes the data, managing the data on page. When I say data driven, if user entered the information here, Swapna, okay, so I have to manage the data. So Visualforce is going to manage the data to show till end of this page. For example, I have another button here, previous next. I have a button previous next. This is previous, this is next. Right? If I click on a next, the page, whatever the user has entered the data, it goes away and the freshly new page is going to display to enter the new information. But as soon as I click on previous, I wanted to see what are the data that user has entered previously. So the data has to be managed. So Visualforce is going to manage the data on the page. And the next point is, it's a hosted platform. It's a hosted platform. When I say hosted platform, no need to install. You need not to install the Visualforce. Nothing. You need not to install anything. We can directly start working on Visualforce framework. Just you need a networking devices or any operating systems. That's it. When you have a network and operating system, you can simply start working on the Visualforce without installing anything. But in other technology, you need to install it. Like if you want to work on Python, you have to install the Python app. Or VB.NET, you have to install the VB.NET. You have to install Java if you wanted to work on the Java. Right? But here you need not to install anything. This comes with the Salesforce. And the last point is automatically upgradable. Automatically upgradable. Like Visualforce, you need not to upgrade anything. Salesforce itself is going to take care of upgrading. As soon as you need a Salesforce org, that means you need a networking operating system. Visualforce is automatically going to upgrade. But coming to other technology, if Python released the latest version 3.18, you have a 3.15. As soon as the Python released the 3.18, then you have to take the latest one. You have to upgrade the Python, right? Every year, Python is they are going to release the new version in Python. Same with .NET, VB.NET, they are going to release the versions. in order to have a latest version, you definitely have to upgrade it. Maybe there is a licensing there or might not be there, but you have to spend a time on the upgrading there. But here you need not to spend any time on the upgrading. It is automatically take care of the upgrade part. So these are the point which is standing like, which is like very good why we have to go with this Visualforce. And let me talk more about the model view controller, because that is very important point. Let me take new page. So when I talk model view controller, that means okay, let's assume that this is my model and this is view and this is controller. Let me give some coloring here. Okay, so model view controller. In view, what are the things will be there? Like page, page means we will implement a page through the Visualforce framework. Or we will implement a component. We will implement a component through Lightning Aura or LWC. What is the LWC? Lightning Web Component. Lightning Web Component. So view is nothing but a page, the UI design. It's a designing part. Either we will implement through the Visualforce or we will implement through the component. Component is nothing but Lightning Aura or LWC. What is the model? Model is nothing but, it could be a S objects. What is the S objects? It can be standard objects or custom objects. It could be a standard objects or custom objects. Right? When I say standard objects, what are those objects? Account or contact or opportunity, anything. When I say custom objects are always appending with C, any object name. So it will be like this, object name, and which will come with __ C, any custom object. Or it could be a Apex classes, right? That is a model. When I say controller, controllers are two types, standard controller, and then we have a custom. Custom controller will be implemented via Apex, right? You will see this part going further when we are doing the Visualforce programs, then you will be seeing this. But till this point, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Now let's go quickly to the Salesforce. Open your developer console. How to open your developer console? If you are used to be Lightning page, go to your page. Here is the profile. Beside that, there is a setup icon. Okay, click on that setup icon. You will see a developer console. Click on that developer console. Right? This is like this. It is going to open for you. Okay. If you are used to be classic, if you are used to be classic, then this is the place where you will be seeing all the apps, right? On the name of yours, click on this arrow. Then you will see my profile, my setting, developer console. Click on that developer console.
Can you please repeat once the classic page navigation?
Classic. Okay. So for classic, this is the all the apps you will be seeing it, right? So wait a second. Just a second, my system became slow. Okay. So in classic, here is the app. You will be seeing all the apps like sales, services, everything you will be seeing. Wherever your name is there, right? Beside this switch lightning experience, after this, your name will appear. Okay, click on that arrow. You will see my profile, my settings. Below that, you will be seeing the developer console. So click on the developer console. Clear? So I'll switch it to the lightning. It's loading the configuration. In case if you have any problem opening the developer console, like this, if you see, it's having some hangings here, right? So if you have any issues, copy this URL. Go to the Google Chrome and enter here. So you will see the developer console. Here, developer console URL will be always like this. Till the salesforce.com is yours. Okay. Then developer console URL will be UI/common/apex debug apex CSI page. It always comes with a debug. The URL always will be having a debug. Apex/debug, right? And initially your page is like this. Your developer console will be like this. Let's go ahead and create a new Visualforce page. For creating a new Visualforce page, click on File on the developer console, click on New, and then you will see a lot of options here. Go to the Visualforce page. Click on this Visualforce page. As soon as you click on that Visualforce page, you will see it is going to ask you the name of the Visualforce page. So let's say that this is my first page. This is my first page. Click OK. Right. As soon as it's done, you will see the extension here. Observe the extension here. Extension is always VFP, Visualforce page. It's always extension is VFP, Visualforce page. Right? And the next thing is API version. These versions are automatically updated by Salesforce. And whenever you create a Visualforce page, currently you always see the latest version. If you click on this arrow mark, you will see there are 53, 52, 51, 50. These are the old versions. Current Apex version is 54. So it automatically takes the version. In case next year, like today you are creating a Visualforce page. Okay, after 1 year, they will go to the 60. Right? In that case, what you can do is open the Visualforce page, click on this arrow mark, whichever the version you want, just select them, right? And save it. Clear? Okay. So let's start the first Visualforce page program. In Visualforce page, any syntax or any command, whatever the word, we have to always write it into the tags. We call this as a tags. In Visualforce page, any command or any word will be inside the tag. This is called as a tag. Tag is nothing but greater than, less than. If you are aware of the HTML, right, we have a paragraph, right? It starts with P and end with /P. Anything which we have to write it here. Any text, if I wanted to write, we have to write inside the tag, right? It always have the opening and this is closing. The first one is called as a opening. This is a opening. How can you say this is a opening? Because for closing, it's always the slash will be there. Wherever you see that slash before the word, that is a closing. Or you might have seen I or break. Okay, in HTML, we have a break. /br, opening br, closing br. In Visualforce page, we use some commands of the HTML. Okay, some commands of the HTML. So we can use the paragraph in the Visualforce page. We can use the break in the Visualforce page. Or we have a header, H1, right? H1 open, H1 close. We can use this. So any tag, anything which I'm starting it has to open and it has to close. So Visualforce follows the same thing. And whenever we start creating the Visualforce page, by default, I'll be getting these two commands. Opening of the page, closing of the page, right? Visualforce always starts with Apex. Any command that I'm using it here, it always starts with the command Apex. If I write something outside, like for example, if I write something outside of the page, hi, this is first class. If I write anything outside of this page, system is going to throw an error. System is going to throw an error. Content is not allowed in trailing section. Content is not allowed in trailing section, right? It will not allow you to write. But if I cut here and write it inside this, then it is going to accept. That means whatever the designing which we are doing it always has to be inside the Apex page. Whatever we do in the Visualforce, it could be a button, it could be a field, it could be a pick list, it could be anything. whatever we are implementing the design part, we have to always inside or in between this open and close. We have to always mention that particular thing. That means we have to code between these two. Opening of the page and closing of the page. Then only system is going to allow to save. So for example, let's say, hi, good evening, right? This is my first class or my first, this is my first Visualforce page. Looks like I am able to understand better than expected. Right. I have a 3 lines of some text information here. I just added some text, hard coded value. Hi, good evening.
Ma'am, again your voice is breaking.
Okay. Is others able to hear me? Any issues? Is others able to hear me? Yes or
Now
no?
it is proper. In between it was, yeah.
Okay. Let me repeat it again. So whatever we are coding it or whatever we are implementing in the Visualforce page, it always has to be inside or in between the opening and closing. We cannot write outside of the closing. We cannot write outside of the closing. System is going to throw an error message saying that whatever the text you have written in the 6th line, it's not in between the tags. So it is going to throw an error. So that's the reason we have to write always in between opening and close. So right now I have added 3.
Again now, ma'am.
Let me check just a second. How about right now?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. So I have written the 3 text like, hi, good evening. This is my first Visualforce page. Looks like I am able to understand better than expected. Right? This is what I have written. So right now I have some text, I'm writing it. Okay. As soon as you are done with the coding, let's save it. For saving, you can always use Control plus yes for saving. For saving, use the Control S. So it is going to save the record. Now I have saved it. Okay, once you save the record, here you will see the preview button. Here you will see the preview button. Click on this preview button. As soon as you click on preview button, you will see the output here. You will see the output. Hi, good evening. This is my first Visualforce page. Looks like I'm able to understand better than expected. Here I have written in 3 lines, right? But it's showing me, it is showing me in 1 line. In case if I wanted to show in 3 lines, so what we can do is either we can use a paragraph or I can use the break. So let's use the paragraph. Let's use the paragraph. So I need it in here, I need here. Save. As soon as I clicked on save, it is auto refreshed. So hi, good evening. This is my first page. Looks like I'm able to understand better than expected. Fine. This looks good. So this is what output I needed. Now inside this page, I have something called sidebar. Sidebar equal to true. See, I saved it, it is refreshing it. So sidebar equal to true is nothing but if you go to the classic, right? This is the sidebar. In case if you are previewing it, okay. So right now you can see. Okay. So my page is coming here. Right now I am in a classic. Before I was in lightning experience, right? So when I was in lightning experience, when I clicked on preview, it was just showing the message. But when I switch to classic, it is showing me the header and the sidebar, right? Because Visualforce page supports only classic. It doesn't support the lightning. It might support sometime if you are using the JavaScript, but the look and beauty, it appears same like a classic. It doesn't look like a lightning experience. So here it is coming as a header is coming and sidebar is coming. In case if I do not want the sidebar, so what I can do is sidebar equal to false. So it is refreshing it. Sidebar gone. In case if I do not want any sidebar, I can simply say that sidebar equal to false, where I have to write starting of the page itself I have to write. Now I have the header. Okay. I do not need all this leads, accounts, all of this Salesforce icon and the search, switching to lightning. These all I do not want to see anything. So what I can do is we have a something called show header. See, as soon as you hit your cursor, it is going to display all of these keywords. So these keywords are going to support only the Apex page. Whatever the keywords that supports to Apex page, only those keywords are going to show here. So show header equal to false. That means I wanted to remove the header. See, now header gone and the sidebar is gone. It's looked like a lightning experience, right? Fine. So sidebar is like we have a lot of commands in the Apex page. Cache is there. We will come to all of those. Extensions are there. Label is there. Name, page, style, read only. These all in real time. Out of this, we will be using sidebar, show header, and then we will be using controller. In real time, these are the one which we will be using. Doctype is basically when you have a DocuSign. DocuSign is nothing but when you receive some email from bank, or if you are joining a new company, they will send you the offer letter, right? As soon as you receive the offer letter, you have to sign on that offer letter. So they will say that you can simply open in the system that form and sign it there. You need not to take a printout and sign. How we will do it? One of the option is DocuSign. Using the DocuSign, we can sign the form and it automatically save the date and everything will be done there, and I can send the immediately to the company. So I need not to take the printout, sign it, again scan and upload everything. We need not to do that. Using the DocuSign, I can simply sign it and save in my system. That's it. Okay, for that purpose, we use the Doctype. Right? These are the some keywords which we are going to use it. So that is the Apex page. Now, today there are, so this is the Apex pages. This is one command. This is one command. Apex page is one command, but there are 107 commands in Visualforce page. 107 commands are there in Visualforce. So don't worry, we will be learning all 107 commands. Okay, so let's go ahead and learn another command apart from the Apex page. So let's assume that, let me delete this. Inside this Apex page, I can add Apex page block. I can add Apex page block. Apex page block. What is the page block? What it does? Page block is basically divides the page into block. Right now you see here, this is entire page. The text is coming on the page. It's not divided. Page block is going to divide the page into blocks. Divide the page into blocks. How? We will see that. Now let's assume that inside this page block, what are the options that I have? Okay, inside this page block, let me take title. Let's say that general information. General information. Now let's save. It's refreshing the page. See, it is divided. This entire page, you will see this part is coming on top. It's like highlighting it, right? It's highlighting, section is highlighted. As soon as you see the page, you wanted to see first heading, general information. So it will be highlighted. The page will be divided into the blocks. Let's assume that, let me copy this. Let's add few more blocks. General information, personal information, and then company information. Let's say, see here, the page is divided into blocks. You see this? So if you want to highlight something, or you wanted to divide your page into different sections, general information is one section, right? If you take the registration form printout also, you will see boxes, right? This is the address information, or this is PAN card information, Aadhaar card information. You will see different blocks. You will see. Same way we can do it using the Apex page block. Using the Apex page block, we can see same things. Now inside this page block, if I wanted to divide more, into the each one as a section part of it. So what I can do is Apex colon page block. See here, we have a page block section, page block section item. Right, let me go with page block section. Page block section. Right, page, this is my entire page, and inside this page I wanted to divide into block, and those blocks I want to divide into the small sections or small boxes, right? So let's say that this also have the title. In general information, let's say contact details. So let me save this. Let's see how it displays. See here, contact details. So if I add inside this block, I will add 3 sections. This is passport details. This is address information. Right now, see here. Let me add some text inside this section so you will understand. Hi, how are you? Right, this is in the first section, and the passport details, let's say HSB 99099, and address information, let's say Hyderabad, let's say. See here, contact information, hi, how are you, passport details, address information, right? So what is happening here? So what is happening? This is my page. This is my page, right? This is my page. On top of the page, what I am doing it, I am dividing this page. I am dividing this page. I'm dividing this page, which is a page block. And inside this, once I divided that, inside that, I wanted to make, and moreover, inside this, I'm dividing into the sections. This is 1, 2, 3, right? This is my web page. This is my page, and I'm dividing into page blocks. Page block, and then I'm dividing into the page block section 1, and this is page block section 2, and this is 3, right? And here I'm mentioning, hi, how are you? And in the second, I was given the passport details. Right? Then address information. Right? This is how I created right now a Visualforce page. How many blocks I can create it within the page? N number of blocks we can create it. How many block sections that I can create it? As your wish, you can create it. But just make sure that the section is visible properly to the user. So I can create n number of blocks, n number of block sections. So let me copy this. Let me copy this and let's paste it here. And let's say that this is family information, emergency details, relative information, and friends details. Friends details. Right? Let me change the text. Emergency information, contact details, some number, relative information, mom, dad, and friends details, some details at parent. Okay, let's say. See here. Okay, so this is general information is, first of all, this page is divided into the two blocks. First block is general information, second block is family information. General information block is divided into the three sections: contact details, passport, address information. Again, family information is divided into the three sections: emergency details, relative information, friends details. Right? We can create as many as blocks. Okay, if you create a more, there is a scroll button which is automatically added here. So scroll button which automatically takes care. If you add 20 blocks or 30 blocks, you can add it. There is no issue with that. In case if I do not want this relative information, okay, I do not want relative information. So what I can do is Control X. I can delete it, that piece. Right? I can delete that piece. But is that we want? Let's say let's say I want to see that here. I wanted to see the information here, but I do not want to see here. I need it for my future purpose, but right now I do not want it to display here. Instead of deleting it, is there any other way I can hide this information? Instead of deleting this piece, because I need it in the future, the client may come back saying that I need a relative information. So is there a way that I can keep it? Yes, you can do that. So we have something called commenting the code. How can I comment it? Greater than, exclamation, dash, dash, dash. And wherever you wanted to stop the commenting, this is the way. So basically, if you want to comment this and this, you need these two. This is for starting of the comment and this is for ending of the comment. right? So if you comment this piece and refresh, you will not see any information. So commenting is easy. You can add a comment like a letter might be required. You can add later, it might be required. You can add whatever. It doesn't display the comment information here. Right? For example, you can add the comment here. So let's say that this is a page command and can be used only once. Apex page, you cannot repeat it. You cannot you cannot have multiple Apex pages inside one Visualforce page. You can create only one Apex page. You can create only one Apex page. Next. Next. What is the Apex page block section? This. Divides the page in blocks. This divides the page in blocks. And next, we have a page block section. This divides the page block into section, right? So if I save this, let's refresh. It doesn't show that information. Clear. So today we learned what is Visualforce. Just to recap, okay. Today we learned what is Visualforce framework and why Visualforce. Why do we use it? We use it to implement or build UI. And when do we use it? If client has a Salesforce Classic, right? Or you wanted to implement something in the JavaScript, then we use the Visualforce. And what are the commands that we learned today? Apex page block section. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, miss.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so now let me give you the assignment. In trial head, I think everybody created the trial head credentials, right?
Yes, yeah.
So everybody might be having it. Just search here, quick start Visualforce. Quick start Visualforce. So there are 3 topics inside this. Create a Visualforce page, add a standard controller to the page, add a form to the Visualforce page. Try to complete these three, okay? Because we'll discuss the standard controller, everything we'll discuss tomorrow. If you are able to understand, go ahead and do it. If not, you can hold these two parts. So the first thing is creating a Visualforce page. Okay. And the next assignment is create a new Visualforce page. Create a new Visualforce page. Build your resume. Build your resume. Okay. So first block is personal information. Okay. In the personal information, you can add your name, education. Okay. You decided how you want it, whether you can go with the page block section, you want a separate section for education, you can implement that, or you can implement in standard way, whichever way you want it. But what is the content that I need is first block should be personal information, education, hobbies, technology. Let's not keep the technology. Name, education, hobbies. Right? These are the information. Now, next one is technology. Next block is technology. Technology, add these all information, ASP.NET, Salesforce, Apex, admin, process builder, right? And below, one more, project details. Project details. Okay. Here, client is a section here. Okay, inside this client, one paragraph, add some paragraph here about the client information, right? Okay, so this is what is the requirement. This is a page.